For today's skill, we're going to look at solving vertex form equations, and we'll use this with projectile motion once we get a little bit more comfortable with it. So we're going to start by putting out an equation. 90 equals to 2 parentheses x plus 4 squared minus 8. I'm going to outline how to solve this first by just putting a couple numbers around it. The first thing that we're going to get rid of is going to be this 8. And I'm going to number what we're going to get rid of first. Then the 2. Then the square. And then the last thing that we're going to get rid of is what's in here, this 4. So I'm going to put that in order so we kind of know which direction to go as you begin to solve these on your own. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of that minus 8. And in order to get rid of a minus 8, we're going to use that inverse by adding 8 to both sides of the equation. I'm going to work vertically just to make life a little bit easier. And I'm going to go ahead and write everything across. So 90 plus 8, we know is 98, equals to, if you can tell the way I lined it up, nothing is underneath the 2x plus 4 squared. So I'm just going to bring this straight down. 2 parentheses x plus 4 squared. And minus 8 plus 8, we know, becomes 0. So I don't need to write that anymore. If I look up at the top, the second thing that we needed to get rid of is this 2. And the 2 is attached to this set of parentheses by multiplication. So we're going to use its inverse, which is division. So we're going to divide by 2 on both sides of that equal sign. Know that 98 divided by 2 is 49 equals 2, and 2 divided by 2 cancels, becomes a 1, and underneath x plus 4 squared, nothing is happening yet. So I'm going to bring this down one more time. Parentheses x plus 4 squared. The next step, or the third thing we need to get rid of, is the squared. In order to get rid of square, we use its inverse, which is the square root. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides of the equation. I know that the square root of 49 is 7 equals to, the square and the square root here are going to cancel, and I'm left with x plus 4. Now I want to go back to this right here, the square root. Remember, the square root means, or it asks for, a number that you can multiply by itself to get this value. So 7 times 7 gives us the value of 49. But we also have to remember that negative 7 times negative 7 also gives us 49. So we actually have two answers here. We have a plus and a minus 7 that comes out of there. The last thing that we need to get rid of, or the fourth thing, was this positive 4, or the addition of 4 here. We're going to use its inverse by subtracting 4. Now this is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to draw the line, and I'm going to write this because there's two sets, because 7 can be positive and negative. I'm going to write plus or minus 7 equals to x. And 4 and minus 4 are going to cancel, become 0. Oh, I just forgot to write that step. Minus 4 equals to x. And I'm going to break it into two different equations. I've got plus 7 minus 4, and I also have negative 7 minus 4. And positive 7 minus 4 is 3. Negative 7 minus 4 is negative 11. Not too bad. Let's try one more example, and then we'll move on to the next assignment. So let's look at this one. 13 equals to 4, parentheses, x minus 2 squared plus 3. And we'll look at this one. And this time I'm going to use the calculator a little bit because I put some decimals in its place. So I'm going to circle them. I'm going to label what we're going to do first. We know the positive 3 is going to be 1. We're going to multiply, and that's going to be 2. The square, which is going to be the third, and minus 2, which is going to be the fourth. If we go in that order, we can solve this pretty quickly. So I'm going to bring out the calculator just for ease. And we're going to get rid of that positive 3 with a minus 3. (13 minus 3, we know is 10, equals to 4, parentheses x minus 2 squared. And this positive 3 and minus 3 is going to cancel out. And I was able to bring this down because there's nothing under there. The second thing that we need to get rid of is this 4, and it's attached by multiplication, so we're going to use its inverse. So we're going to divide by 4. Okay. When we divide by 4, this is going to cancel. And for those of you with your calculator, we're going to say 10 divided by 4 in the calculator. 2.5, but just to show you, 10 divided by 4. And we'll get that 2.5. Equals to, now notice again, x minus 2 squared without anything under it. It's going to move down. So we've gotten rid of the first and the second thing. Now we need to go to the third thing, which is that squared. I'm going to get rid of the squared again by taking the square root. And what you do to one side, we do to the other side. The square and the square root are going to cancel. And x minus 2 comes out. And in your calculator, type second x squared, which will bring up the square root, and put 2.5 in there, and close those parentheses. You always want to do that just in case you put another value behind there. It will mess up your answer. And we have 1.58. For ease, at this point, I'm just going to round to the 10th. So 1 point, that 5/8, that 8 makes that 5 become a 6. And remember, when we take the square root, there's going to be two answers, plus and minus. We're going to get rid of that minus 2 with a plus 2 on both sides, and draw the line directly underneath. The negative 2 and the positive 2 are going to cancel. X is going to come out. And we're going to write this whole line like we did before. Plus or minus 1.6 plus 2. And with the other equation, or the other problem that we had worked with, we broke this statement into two separate equations. So I'm going to write plus 1.6 plus 2. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to do this. So we've done the top one. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to write minus 1.6 plus 2. And in your calculator, you should see 1.6 plus 2 is 3.6. And negative 1.6 plus 2 is 0.5.